it's Heather, and today is a very good day for an adventure in gardening. Hey, can't we just give peas a chance? What do you call two cheerful peas? Happies. Sweet peas are made of these, who am I to disagree? This little pea went to market. This little pea stayed home. This little pea decided to stay at home and learn how to grow her own food. No, but seriously, peas are super easy to grow. Peas are one of the first crops that I closed my homesteading cycle with and saved my peas from year to year and just grow the same peas. Now I have added to my collection of the types of peas that I grow over the years because, you know, sometimes we found some of them not to be as sweet or as tender as others. So I have 3 different varieties that I grow right now. I grow Melting Sugar, Green Beauty, and and Green Arrow. Green Arrow is the shelling pea. So I used to take and plant them on St. Patrick's Day. That's a traditional day of planting, and I still do that, but I just do it a little different because I was never really happy with my pea crop until I did a little research on YouTube, and I'm going to share with you what I did. But before, what I would do is I would just dig this little trench, and then I would put my seeds in the trench, and then I would cover it up. And when I was doing it, and it took me a couple of years to figure out this was going on, there were birds and chipmunks and squirrels, and they were all watching, and they were like, oh, look, she's making a scavenger hunt for us. That's fantastic. So, and you know, I would not have all of my peas come up because a critter would take and dig them up and have a feast. So what I do now is I grow them in modules where I put 3 seeds in each module and grow them either on the shelf in here or out in the greenhouse. Or you could even do that outside in the modules too. It kind of keeps them safe and protected and lets them root in and grow and look fabulous before you put them in the ground, or at least look like something, because then it doesn't look like a scavenger hunt. So this is the way that I do it. I put my peas, my dry pea seeds, in a jar, and then I fill it up with water, and I let them sit for about 2 days. And what this does is it hydrates the pea seed and makes them germinate quicker and reduces the chance that they're going to rot before they actually germinate for you. Germinate means that they're going to come through the soil and turn green, if you didn't know what that means, but every gardener has to start somewhere, right? And then once they have come through the surface of the soil, I will put them out in the garden, and I have had the most fabulous crops of peas. Now, peas are mostly self-fertile, so you don't really have to worry about cross-pollination with peas, which is great. So the 3 different kinds are not that far apart, and I don't really have any mutations in the varieties, and I'm very happy with them. And so I thought I'd share my little tip on how I grow peas with you. Just spend a little time putting a nice clean edge where the peas are going to be planted along this fence to separate the path from the bed. So I just take my edger, which I could just as soon use a shovel if I had one, but I happen to have this. And you just keep pushing it in, lifting up the earth a little bit. And when my mom and I worked for a private garden together, we would edge together. And this is something that you can do with your kids. And my mom would edge, and I would come behind her with a fork and loosen up the weeds and put them in a bucket. And before you know it, we had a nice clean garden bed, and we had great conversation doing it. I'm planting some peas right now. This is Green Beauty that I'm planting, and I just got done planting 72 of these modules for groups of 3 pea plants. You can see right here. And the melting sugar, I got halfway through the project and the roots were not as developed as these, and they were falling apart, and then I had to take and pick up each one of the 3 little pea seeds and stick them in, and I'm like, why am I rushing this? And I wasn't going to plant anymore until I checked these guys, and I'm like, okay, you guys are ready to go, so I'm just gonna plant another 72. So just digging my hole. I will not win any awards for videography. Stick my little plant in there, tuck them in, and keep going. I've got 2 rows of peas planted along 2 fence panels. Soaker hoses are in place, and those are this can right here is my slug trap from last year, and I just fill it with beer whenever slugs become a problem. I just want to mention one more thing about closing that circle, elaborate a little bit on the pea process. So as far as the peas go, I have never had to tag one plant and save that one plant for seeds, because I always miss peas, or if they start to get too mature and they get like tough. And you'll see when your peas start to grow, they get that puckered look to them. Don't pick those. Leave those on the vine for your seed. And they're always going to be somewhere at the bottom where you miss them one week and they get that shriveled, puckered look to them. You're going to leave the vine there, and you're going to leave the pea on the vine until it's rattle dry. So really dry. You want them to really, really dry. And then, of course, you're going to take them inside when they're dry. You're going to open the husks when they're dry. You don't want any chance of mildew or mold happening on your peas or in the seed inside the pea pod. And from there, you're going to continue to leave them in a dry place. And then what you're going to do when you're sure that they're dry, and honestly, it's almost like Christmas time for me when I do this, is I put them in a Ziploc bag and I put them in the freezer. And that's to kill any of the little pea-loving bugs that I can't remember their name right now, but the pea-loving bugs that eat off of the peas. So you want to kill them. You want to freeze the pea seeds, leave them there for a few weeks, then take them out and then continue to store them until spring, where you start your circle all over again. And that peas are traditionally planted on St. Patrick's Day, and really what that is just a good reminder that peas are a very, very early crop. They like cool weather. You're not going to have a really great crop in Zone 6 here in Connecticut if you decide to start your peas on May 1st. That is not this crop. People can do a fall crop. I have tried year after year and I've just never been successful. So they like it now when it is nice and cool and downright cold, actually. So these are my, I just want to show you, this is my, I've had this same, it's a landscape timber. I've had the same landscape timber nail thing helping me, and so I just dig out my peas. You can see why I stopped planting some of them, because they're just, I like it when they come out in one piece. Yeah, this one's not so bad. So you can see the nice roots here on them. Yeah, it still fell apart, so I'll just stick that one back in the module and I'll let it sit for another week. Now here's my problem. I planted a lot of peas today, like a lot of peas, but look, I really started a lot of peas. And so now I have to find a home for the rest of these peas. And I think next year what I'll do is I'll actually count how many modules I want to make times 3, and then I'll count them out instead of just taking a big jar, filling it with water, soaking them, and then feeling obligated to plant the rest of them. So these are the peas that still need a home or need to be planted. I just wanted to show you, these are sweet peas. Sweet peas, the flowering sweet pea annual, and you can see the difference. I mean, it does get that kind of same pea leaf to it eventually, but right now they just look like they're long and stringy. They're just a beautiful annual flowering vine that is very fragrant, so just thought I'd share that with you. Oh, and look, more peas. Yep, more peas. Hey, thanks for watching. Gardeners are some of the most caring, kind, and generous people I've ever met, and I love being around other gardeners. Let's spread the wealth of our knowledge, our extra seeds, and our extra plants with all the beginner gardeners or even the more advanced gardeners in your life. And remember, every day is an adventure. And did I mention you should subscribe? That'd be great.